Good evening, everyone. And I have pleasure in opening the Ordinary Council meeting of the 24th of February 2026 at 6:30 p.m. and welcome all those in attendance. I wish to inform you that the meeting is being live streamed and recorded. The video will appear on the Council's website and YouTube channel. The public gallery will not be recorded unless accidentally or only a participant in the meeting, namely a person asking questions at public question time, will be live streamed and recorded. If you wish to ask a question at public question time, your voice and image will be recorded and live streamed. If you do not consent to your voice and image being recorded and live streamed to the public, then you'll need to leave the meeting. By staying at this meeting, you consent to your voice and image being live streamed and recorded. No other electronic, visual or audio recording device or instrument can be used to record the proceedings of this meeting without prior written permission from the Council, as per the City of Beaumont's Standing Orders local law. Acknowledgement country. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people as the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I further acknowledge their cultural heritage, beliefs, connection and relationship with this land which continues today. Affirmation of civic duty and responsibility. Councillor Sakula, would you please read aloud the affirmation of civic duty and responsibility on behalf of elected members present, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I make this affirmation in good faith and declare that I will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of my office for all the people in the City of Belmont, according to the best of my judgment. I will observe the City's Code of Conduct and Standing Orders to ensure efficient, effective and orderly decision-making within this forum. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you so much. Apologies and leave of absence. We have apologies from Councillor Aberdeen and Councillor Davis. Leave of absence. There were no councillors recorded having a leave of absence. Declarations of interest. Will the Coordinator of Governance please advise of those declarations made to date? Are there any financial interests?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. No financial interests have been received.
Are there any disclosure of interests affecting impartiality, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Disclosure of interest has been received from yourself, the Mayor, on item 12.2, draft local planning policy number 21, for the reason of being on the board of the National Trust of Western Australia, who identify the significant trees throughout WA. Councillor Sessions has disclosed an interest in item 12.8, annual electors meeting minutes on the 15th of December 2025, as one of the motions presented by a resident is similar to a motion that they have also put forward. Councillors Kuljitsky, Marks, Ryans, Sakula, Sessions and Mayor Rossi have submitted disclosures on item 12.9, sitting fees, independent members, Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, as the independent members of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee are known to them. Councillor Sessions has disclosed an interest on item 12.11, Council Policy Review 2025, as they could potentially benefit from the use of legal representation policy, professional development policy and the elected member fees and allowances policy. Councillors Kuljitsky, Harris, Marks, Ryans, Sakula and Mayor Rossi have also disclosed an interest in items 12.11 Council Policy Review, as there is potential benefit should the policy provisions be used relating to a fee, reimbursement of an expense or an allowance for the following policies: elected members' fees, allowances and support, elected member professional development, authorised travel and legal representation for elected members. Disclosures of interest have also been received from the from the CEO, the Director of Corporate and Governance and the Manager of Governance and Legal for item 12.11 Council Policy Review Tranche 1, as there is potential benefit should the policy provisions be used relating to a fee, reimbursement of an expense or an allowance for the following policy of legal representation for elected members and employees. Thank you.
A disclaimer. I wish to draw attention to the disclaimer notice contained with the agenda documents and advise members of the public that any decisions made at the meeting tonight can be revoked pursuant to the Local Government Act of 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decisions until formal notification in writing from the City has been received. Just going back to 4.1, announcements. There are no announcements this evening. Move to 4.3, declarations by members who have not given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers presently before the meeting. Are there any declarations to be made by councillors? There are none. Public question time. Response to questions taken on notice from the ordinary council meeting of the 16th December 2025 are noted in the agenda for Ms Hollands and Mr Cardoso on behalf of Belmont East Ward Connect. It is 6:35 p.m. and I open public question time and draw the attention of the public gallery to the rules of public question time as written in the question time form. I remind members of the public of the standing orders local law requirements for members of the public to extend due courtesy and respect to both councillors and employees. Please do not use inappropriate, objectionable or untruthful expressions or expressions that reflect adversely on the character or actions of councillors or employees. If any expression is deemed inappropriate, you'll be directed to withdraw the expression and apologise. If you do not comply, I'll have to end your question. Lastly, remind and caution everyone present at this meeting to refrain from making defamatory statements, especially as the proceedings are now live streamed. Under the City's Standing Orders, Local Law 2017, members of the public can ask up to 2 questions and you have a maximum of 2 minutes per question for the question to be asked and answered. As presiding member tonight, I will allow up to 4 questions per person. Please note that sub-questions, being questions within questions, will not be counted towards the total number of questions permitted. The question number and time limit is to allow fair and equal opportunity for everyone to ask their questions before the proceedings continue. I have 1 member of the public who have been given prior notice to ask questions, that being Ms Hollands and Ms Hollands on behalf of Bragg. I also now have Marta Cardoso on behalf of Belmont East Ward Connect. Are there anybody else? Janet G, Luigi, Rosalind, and Matt. Thank you. We'll go to Ms Hollands, please. Please state your name and suburb only. Please ask your questions, noting you have 2 minutes per question for the question to be asked and answered. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors and staff and public gallery. Firstly, I do not give consent to be on camera and any perceived consent is under duress. Bragg questions. In both November and December last year, in respect of the advisory groups, I asked a specific question relating to the advisory groups. The question was what section of that specifically states councillors are no longer allowed on these groups. The response in December was the Act requires elected members not to involve themselves in administration of the city, as this is the responsibility of the Chief Executive Officer. This does not answer the question, as this response is not a section of the Act, which is what the question asked. You reference section 2.10 in respect of another part of the question, although you did omit 1A of section 210, which states councillors represent the interests of the electors, ratepayers and residents of the district and take accounts of the interests of the other persons who work in or visit the district. So my question, other local governments still have advisory groups with councillors, so it would seem to me either they are not following the section of the Act you're relying on, or we're not following the section of the Act by removing them, because it can't be both. Is it us or the other local governments in breach? And for the third time, can you please provide me with the section of the Act which says that councillors can't be on these advisory groups, as it appears section 2.10(1), which I've just read out, would suggest that they would be complying with their duties in accordance with the Act by being on them.
Theo?
Thank you, Worship. I can't comment on other local governments and whether or not they're compliant with the Act or not, but what I can confirm is that the City of Belmont is compliant with the Act. Now, while it doesn't say in the Act local elected members can't be on a group, it's quite clear what the role of councillors are, the role of the Mayor and the role of the CEO, and I believe we're fully compliant with the Local Government Act, Your Worship.
Next question, please.
raised on item 12.1 tonight, the design review panel. His question asked if the item being voted upon had the terms of reference being voted on separately. It was stated no, as it's the same as what was done for the advisory groups, as terms of references are set by administration. On page 13 of the design review panel item, it reads, at the 24th of September 2019 OCM, Council endorsed the terms of reference for the inaugural City of Belmont Design Review Panel. Therefore, the terms of reference was a resolution of Council. So my question, under what section of the Act or regs gives authority to the administration to change what Council has already passed as a resolution previously without it going back to Council to revoke or change the resolution previously made?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Worship. Similar to my last question, there has been changes to the Act since 2019, and I believe we're fully compliant. They are administrative in nature, and that's why they are no longer required to come to Council. Thank you, Worship.
That actually didn't answer the question, Mr Christie. I did say what section of the Act allows the administration to overrule a council, that's something that's been passed in Council.
Mr CEO, are you able to give the
Thank you, Worship. As I stated previously in my previous response, the Act is pretty clear on the role of the CEO, the role of Council and the role of the Mayor or President of a local government. Thank you, Worship.
Next question, please.
Mayor Rossi, I would suggest that that hasn't answered the question either. I did ask for the specific section because you as councillors passed a resolution, and this could go for any resolution, not just this, and now it seems the administration, and I asked what section of the Act or regulations that allows the administration to change a council resolution. That's a fair question, I believe.
Mr CEO, are you able to maybe take it on notice?
Thank you, Worship. I just want to clarify one thing. We did not change a council resolution. That council resolution from 2019 remains in place, and that was valid at the time. There has been changes to the Act, and as I said, the Act is quite clear on what the role of the CEO is. These are administrative, and if you're looking for a specific section in the Act that says the CEO or executive team can determine the terms of reference for a group, you're not going to find that. What I can confirm is that we are compliant with the Local Government Act, and the decisions that we've made remain consistent with that. Thank you, Worship.
That's quite clear. Next question.
Well, I don't know about that. On watching the live stream, some Bragg members have raised concerns as to how many times I keep asking the same question, meeting after meeting, as the specific question was not answered, especially when it's legislation that you're supposed to know if you're complying with it. I personally have real concerns with governance, which I've voiced with the city, and believe given the list which is being made of things that do not appear to be right, it may well be time to get the inspector to have a look at the City of Belmont. The last one was regarding the minutes that I asked from 2020. I came to 2 council meetings. I was told that they was in archives and it was going to take too many resources to get these minutes, only to find out through another resident that they'd been digitised, according to one of your previous staff members, since from 1998 onwards. So my question, I guess, to the CEO, as the person in charge, are you happy to sit here month after month hearing specific questions that are not being answered and therefore asked again, or we have to remind you in emails that there's something wrong with the questions? Do you think this is the standard, given the frequency which I have to do this, that should be higher, or are you happy with the standard?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Worship. Am I happy with the governance of this organisation? Absolutely. I have complete faith in my governance team and how the council meetings are run. The minutes and the responses to questions have been provided. So the reality is you saying that the responses weren't provided is quite incorrect. If we can't answer the question, we take them on notice, and we do provide responses in the best responses we can at the time in response to questions that have been asked in this meeting. Thank you, Worship.
Okay. My last question on that is that, as I said, the questions I ask are often related to specific pieces of legislation, and I'm not getting answers to that specific legislation. Is that because it's not there, or is it because it's taking too much resources to find something? And I'm asking because I have real concerns.
Mr Seo?
Thank you, Worship. Ms Hollins is stating that we are not answering the questions, and I believe that we are. Thank you, Worship.
Okay,
Your break questions now?
Oh, these are the personal ones, Mayor Rossi. In tonight's policies, one of them is communication, and I specifically refer to point 7, guidelines for using social media. 1, be credible, accurate, fair, thorough and transparent. 2, be respectful, cordial, honest and professional at all times. Be responsive and share information where appropriate. 4, behave with honesty, integrity. And point E, elected members are personally responsible for their social media accounts, digital platforms and content they publish in a personal or professional capacity on any form of social media or digital platform, and in this regard must personally ensure they understand their legal obligations. And G, when using social media in a private capacity, elected members are equally bound by this policy and its legal obligation in certain circumstances if they are identifiable as an elected member of the city. So, having previously asked questions about councillors blocking residents on Facebook pages and fake accounts and asking whether it would be a breach of the Code of Conduct, and I've been told basically no, it's nothing to do with council, it seems based on this actual policy I may not have been given the correct answer to my question. So the question, given I've provided the policy details right now, I will ask the question again. If councillors are blocking residents on social media without any reason, can a complaint of a breach of the Code of Conduct be made? And given the actual policy states these are the situation, and if not, why not?
Mr Seo?
Thank you, Worship. I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. On the 24th of November 25, Bragg wrote to the councillors with respect to the seniors bus agreement. One particular issue was the wording of the annexure agreed by council and the additional clauses in the actual contract, which made it inconsistent, in my opinion, with what the councillor's intent might have been. My understanding is that under the new changes to the Act, which we're waiting on, that contracts with clubs like this will no longer be confidential and they will be open to scrutiny, which, if true, will be fantastic. Since I have a copy of this contract along with the annexure, it appears that what the council resolution is not what the seniors actually ended up with that specific point, which I won't expose, from the time between the council voting for it and when the contract came out. So my question, as the seniors' rent is up as a confidential item tonight, it seems appropriate to ask, why was the bus contract added to by the administration, which waters down the rights of the senior and makes it inconsistent? Is it normal protocol that this occurs when contracts are drafted and therefore may not end up being entirely what the council wanted?
Mr Seo?
Thank you, Worship. Both those matters are confidential and remain confidential. And all I will say is both the City and the Seniors Sits Club signed the agreement. And that's all I've got to add on this matter. Thank you, Worship.
Next question, please.
Okay, last October I asked questions about the seniors bus contract, which the City states was confidential, even though there'd been a public meeting about the contract and the contract was never marked as such, nor did it contain a confidentiality clause. Additionally, the seniors have had no issues with everyone knowing what the content of the contract was. At the November meeting, when the minutes for October were passed, to be true, Councillor Harris asked various questions prior to passing them, as the City had removed my questions from the live stream. Council went behind closed doors for the first time for about 5 minutes, so Councillor Harris could ask questions on the confidential matter. On return, Councillor Harris moved an alternate motion asking that these minutes be deferred for passing until December and that the CEO restore the live stream, including my questions. The meeting shut down a second time for over 10 minutes for legal opinion, presumably advice as to what to do about the motion of Councillor Harris. When the meeting returned a second time, the minutes were passed and with Councillor Harris voting against them. So my question, after shutting the meeting down for over 15 minutes in total, which while we all waited outside, what happened to the motion of Councillor Harris, as there was no mention at all to the attendees that were there sitting around waiting all this time. It was like it didn't exist in the first place, and you all carried on like nothing had happened. This is not transparency, and my opinion, Councillor Harris was correct not to vote for them. So what happened?
Mr Sear?
Well, Your Worship, it was discussed behind closed doors and I'm not at liberty to disclose that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Where did the motion go? That's not confidential. He made it publicly.
Mr Sear?
As I said, the meeting was closed and there was a confidential discussion and I'm not at liberty to disclose that.
Lack
The
of
last
transparency.
question, please.
No, that's it.
Move on to
Happy 2026. Good evening, Mr Mayor, councillors, city officers and public gallery. My first question. In the past 10 years, has council resolved in its meeting minutes to support any motion adopted at an annual electors meeting? And if so, can the city identify the motion and the date of the relevant council resolution, please?
Mr Sear?
Thank you, Worship. I will need to take that on notice, obviously, to go back 10 years of electors meetings. Thank you, Worship.
Next question, Martin.
Thank you. Question 2. Throughout 2025, the city has advised that agenda briefing forum minutes are not verbatim. While written submissions may receive a non-verbatim summary in the published record, verbal submissions made at agenda briefing forums are not summarised in any form. Can the city confirm that this practice will continue to apply in 2026?
Mr Sear?
Thank you, Worship. What I can confirm is that previous responses to very similar questions have been asked at the last perhaps 4 or 6 council meetings, and our position remains the same. We do provide a summary of what occurs at an agenda briefing forum, and I would imagine that would continue as it's fully compliant with the Local Government Act, Your Worship.
Next question.
Sure. Question 3. At the December 2025 agenda briefing forum, a verbal submission was made on item 12.1, draft local planning policy number 21, trees on private land. Can the city confirm that the published agenda briefing forum matrix contains no non-verbatim summary of the content of that verbal submission?
Mr Sear?
Your Worship, I would need to take that question on notice. Thank you.
Next question, Martin.
Sure. Question 4. Where no recorded summary of a verbal submission exists, what mechanism, if any, allows elected members who were not present to access the content of that submission before making a decision?
Mr Sear?
Thank you, Worship. I'll take that question on notice, but I'm sure the minutes of the meeting are available and usually endorsed at the following council meeting. Thank you, Worship.
Did you want me to ask that question again? Because that wasn't quite the question.
Please repeat it again.
Yep. So where no recorded summary of a verbal submission exists, what mechanism, if any, allows elected members who were not present to access the content of that submission before making a decision?
Mr Sear?
I'll take that on notice, Your Worship, just to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your questions now on behalf of Belmont East Ward Connect.
In 2025, the city held 2 annual electors meetings at which the wording and outcome of motions were recorded in the published minutes, while the verbal reasoning and debate provided by electors were not recorded in any form. Can the city confirm that this practice, where elector reasoning at statutory meeting is not captured in the public record, will continue to apply in 2026?
Mr Sear?
Thank you, Worship. Similar to my last question, we are required to provide a summary of those minutes, and that is what is required under the Local Government Act, and we will continue to do so. Thank you, Worship.
Next question, please.
At the December 2025 annual electors meeting, item 6.20, notice of motion 20 generated verbal input from multiple electors. Can the city confirm that the published annual electors meeting minutes contain no non-verbatim summary of that elector reasoning or debate?
Mr Sear?
Again, Your Worship, similar to my previous response, we are required to record the minutes and provide a summary of those minutes in accordance with the Act. And again, I believe we're fully compliant with the requirements of the Act when it comes to providing the minutes. Thank you, Your Worship. Noting that elected members were in attendance. Thank you.
Mr Cardoso, your next question.
Sure. The December 2025 annual electors meeting minutes show that 6 of the 9 elected members were not present for that meeting. Can the City confirm that those members have no recorded summary available to understand the reasoning presented by electors in support of that motion before being asked to vote on it?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you're aware, the report also contains comment from officers which captured perhaps some of the discussion that resulted as in the motions being tabled in the first instance. But again, I'll take that on notice just to clarify.
Just seems they're only receiving, elected members are only receiving one side.
My
last question. Where elector reasoning is not recorded in any form, what mechanism, if any, ensures elected members are not asked to vote having access only to recorded officer reasoning rather than the reasoning presented by electors?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. Look, I'll take that on notice as well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Janet G.
Janet G, Cloverdale. I'm doing a little preamble, I won't take long. In this day and age, we've all got a budget. Council's got one, we individuals have budgets. Each time, each year, things go up. The cost of living goes up. Your car insurance goes up. You hopefully get a little bit more money that you're earning, but we each have to stick to a budget. So it is important to us when things in life change. It does affect you directly. So my questions are, you keep telling us we can't ask questions on things that are going to directly affect us. When you start changing policies or adding to policies that is ultimately going to affect the cost of the rates, whether it's CPI or above, we should at least have the opportunity, like at last week's meeting at the ABF, to ask questions. But you directly say, well, you're not directly affected. Anything that affects my budget and how I live, I am directly affected. Same as everyone in this room is directly affected. We might be one of thousands in the district, so you can quantify it that way. But Mr. Mayor, if what you pass in your changes to your policies and everything else, especially the financial ones, affects the budget that council and the rates that council are going to be asking, then I'm sorry, but I am directly affected, as is everybody in this room. So, Mr. Mayor, what is your answer to that when I'm saying that I'm directly affected, but you won't let me talk on it?
You're not directly more affected than anybody else in the city, so you are not directly affected. Your next question?
I haven't got one. I'm just flummoxed on that. You
Thank
guys
you.
should know.
Move on to Luigi, Rosalind.
Good evening to everyone. Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I compliment you. You take a walk during the week, and I was on my desk, and so you passing in front of my old house. And I saw after a few days, or maybe the day after, some improvement happening on the street. They cutting the tree umbrella higher the 2 meters, so when I pass, I'm a short one and not break my hair. Thank you very much for that, because I think you was passing, noticed there was something wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think you did. And instead of the people working for the council and not doing the job properly, probably inspecting, you have done the job for them. Thank you very much. A question I have is, regarding the library. I noticed the other day when I entered, there was a book in prominent display, and it was a religious book. The color of the cover is green, so I have some question. Because I never saw, maybe I'm wrong, I never saw being put in evidence in a spot like that book being put, a Holy Bible. So I ask the people working there, they say, well, it's Ramadan. Okay, that's fine. I say, how many times you put out the Bible at the front to show to the customers? There's only one Bible they have the council, the international version, go fire home if you need one. Also, book, I'm inquiring today too. I have a little bit of discussion and I was not very pleased with the person there, but doesn't matter, he's young. And I found the religious book, and they are not really say religious book. And you got the Quran, and you got the international version of the Holy Bible, and they are at the moment rented out. And all the books there in general, I don't know what they are, but I have a look at the list, not too many. But it's not really like the Quran. I think that most of you are ignoring what the book of the Islam have, because the Quran is the main book, but it's not true. You got another book after that. Where,
I'm sorry.
So I'm asking the question.
You just got to be careful because everyone's book is for them.
I was like the Bible to be prominent put out, and also to get all the book of Islam and Christianity, all the book there, because for example the Quran, or the Quran what you call, but they spell with a Q for them, is not the only main book the Muslims are obeying. It's another book. It's called with different name, and that is a very for a person I want to know really what things are. That is explained in many verses. That is anti-Semitism in practice. The book is called the Hadith, Hadith.
Look, I'm a bit concerned where we're going with this. Maybe you could have a chat with the Director of Development and Communities about it, who looks after the library. But I think it's important that the library promotes everybody, and everyone is inclusive. But I think it's best maybe you have a word with the Director of Development and Communities afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. What I say, I'm asking to put more religious book out. I will ask them again. Thank you.
The directors heard you, the CEOs heard you, and it'll be up to them to determine. I don't have the power to do that. Mr. CEO, you got any comments to make?
No, other than the comments that you made are quite relevant. We are a multicultural society. Books are generally stored or categorised by category in the library, but I'm sure we'll take that on notice and the Director will maybe give some thought to that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. The question for you, Mr. Mayor Rossi. When you walked the other day, you passed the street close to here, name Hendra.
Hendra?
Yeah, you know, it's the street just around here. You pass there, you walk in there. It's next door to the Cloverdale School.
No,
you walk in there?
I haven't been to Hendra yet, no.
Yeah. I can ask the council to have an inspection on the street to do a report, please. Because I found very disgusting.
Could you repeat that again, sorry? What did you find? My apologies.
Disgusting view. Very, 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 very bad thing there, rubbish. And also is using as a construction site in practice with a heavy vehicle there all the time and material for building. I suppose myself say this time of the street because I report before and spoke with people, official of the council and ranger, and the issue is not changed. And also I fear maybe this builder is, I tried to get information the council can do for $9 from that. I found out who is the director. It costs only $9 to find who is the director. It doesn't pay the tax rate, etc., etc. So I'd like to have a report on that, please.
I don't know if we can give you a report, but we will look into it. You've got the Director of Infrastructures who's hearing about the mess, and Director of Development Communities looks after buildings, so they will look into it. I don't know, Mr. CEO, if we can give a report back, but we can address it in some way. We'll investigate, I believe. Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. If Mr Rosland would like to provide us with a bit more specific details of the location, then I'm sure staff would have a look into that and determine whether any action is required. Thank you, Worship.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. We move to Mr. Russell.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Russell from QDAL. My first question, does the city have a policy, public or internal, requiring a business case or cost-benefit analysis for projects above a specified financial threshold? And if so, what is the threshold?
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. We do have a project management framework which has portfolio management in it, but I'll take that question on notice unless the Director of Infrastructure is able to respond, Your Worship. Thank you.
Director of Infrastructure Services.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Rossi, happy to take it on notice.
Next question.
What was the total capital cost for the installation of the EV chargers beneath the Belmont Hub, and how is the city monitoring return on investment or operational efficiency for this infrastructure?
I think I'll need to take that question on notice, Your Worship. I do know that the installation was part of the 5 or 6 Green Star rating that came with the building, but I'll take that question on notice.
The third question, go ahead.
What is the total annual operating and maintenance costs of the hanging baskets, and how was this ongoing cost factored into the original budget approval?
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. Unless the Director of Infrastructure has those costs, again, I'll need to take that question on notice.
Next question.
Once executed, will the Belmont Senior Citizens Club lease be recorded on a city public lease register or be made available in any way?
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. I might take that question on notice unless the Director of Corporate and Governance or the Manager of Legal and Governance can respond. Thank you, Worship.
Firstly, the Director of Corporate Governance.
I'm happy to take that on notice, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now close public question time at 7:08 p.m. We now move to 6.1, Matrix for the Agenda Briefing Forum, held the 17th of February. Are there any questions on the matrix? May I have a mover? Oh, sorry, you've got a question? Councillor Kulczycki.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I think there may need to be a correction for item 4.1, which is found on page 7 of the matrix. There's an attachment that is tabled, but it seems to refer to the deputation made for item 12.11 rather than the submission that was made for item 4.1.
Just give everyone a chance to get to it, to check. Manager of Governance and Legal, we'll give you a chance to look at it first.
Just going on to it now.
I thought that might have been corrected.
Director of Corporate and Governance.
Through the chair, I've just been advised that that was an administrative error. Yeah. And it will be rectified. Thanks.
Thank you. So they'll be rectified. Any further questions?
And no, Mr Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Kulczycki. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen.
I haven't got anything here.
All right, we've got a glitch, so we'll vote by hand. All those in favour? Against? Carry unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We move to 6.2, Ordinary Council meeting held on the 16th of December. Are there any questions on the minutes? May I have a mover and seconder to confirm the minutes as true and accurate? Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Sessions. We have issues with the glitch, so we'll vote by hand. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Just give everyone a chance to catch up. Questions by members of which due notice has been given without discussion, there are none. Response to questions taken on notice, there are none. Questions by members without notice, are there any questions by members? Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. Last week, both you and the CEO wrote to the Director General and Minister for Local Government regarding the date that the state government planned to publish standardised meeting procedures. I just wondered if any of you have received a response at all yet.
I've received nothing from the Minister yet. Mr CEO?
Thank you, Worship. No, we have not received any formal response to that correspondence as yet.
Thank you. Let's move on. Number 9, is there any new business of an urgent nature? No. Business adjourned from the previous meeting, there's none. Reports of committees, there are none. Reports of administration. Withdrawn items. Are there any items withdrawn? I'll go through them. We already have 12.8, Councillor Kulczycki. 12.11, Councillor Marx. Draft 12.1, draft local planning policy. Councillor Kulczycki. Trees and private land. Councillor Kulczycki. Draft Redcliffe Station precinct. Accounts for payment for December. Accounts for payment for January. Monthly financial report for December. Monthly financial report for January. Annual electors meeting minutes already withdrawn. Sitting fees, independent members, audit and risk and improvement committee. Request for rate exemption, 28 Belgravia Street. And 12.11 is Councillor Marx. Oh. 12.1, we have 12.1, 12.2, 12.8, 12.10 and 12.11. So, may I have a mover and second to adopt the balance of the report en bloc by an absolute majority decision, with the exception of items 12.1, 12.2, 12.8, 12.10, 12.11. Just want to make sure, is there anything else you want to add, or you just want to move it? Sorry? Mover. So moved by Councillor Sakula, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sessions. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. Please just be patient. We've got an issue with the computers. Okay, we'll do it by hand. My apologies. All those in favour? Against? Carry unanimously. Thank you. For those people present in the gallery, please note that those items have not been withdrawn and have now been adopted by Council. You are welcome to stay and observe the remainder of tonight's proceedings, or you may wish to leave when convenient. As outlined previously, please do not rely on any Council decision until formal notification has been received in writing. Thank you. Let's move to 12.1, the Design Review Panel, Draft Local Planning Policy number 22, moved by Councillor Kulczycki, seconded by Councillor Sessions. Councillor Kulczycki, over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I'd like to move the motion as printed in the agenda.
Sorry, go ahead. No, it's not an alternative motion. It is just moved as printed. So as printed, as you said.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. So I believe that Council ought to commend the work undertaken by the City's planning officers to develop this draft planning policy, number 22, for advertising as it makes best of an undesirable situation. It appears the state government wishes to see poorer planning and quality outcomes across the state by adjusting the thresholds required through the design review panel consideration process. However, the provision of the voluntary submission, coupled with the incentive of a free design review panel service in this policy, will hopefully continue to drive better quality development to occur in Belmont, particularly in residential suburbs, which will be most affected by the change in state government policy articulated in the Local Government Design Review Manual, which was released in June last year.
The seconder, Councillor Sessions.
Nothing to add, Mayor Rossi.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Back to the mover.
No further comment. Thank you.
I'll just check if the computers are up again. They're not. So we'll do it by a vote of hands. All those in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We move to 12.2, Draft Local Planning Policy number 21, Trees on Private Land. We have a move by Councillor Kulczycki. Need a second. Councillor Sessions' hands was up first. Sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Kulczycki.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. So I wish to move the motion that is printed in our agenda tonight. So I want to thank planning officers for the thorough review undertaken in response to the council decision that was made in December last year concerning this draft local planning policy number 21. Some meaningful changes have been made, making the policy more user-friendly, whilst addressing the legal aspects required to make the policy robust and enforceable. It also includes Councillor Harris's contribution to ensure that development undertaken by the City must also be subject to the same standard as the whole community. I note to councillors that this draft policy is for advertising, and I encourage strongly that we put it to the public to make their input heard on this important policy.
Thank you. The seconder wish to speak?
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I think this is quite a conservative policy, but an important one. Therefore, I support the officer's recommendation and look forward to reviewing the community submissions when the advertising period closes.
Anybody else wishing to speak for or against? Councillor Harris, no? Anybody else? No? Then I will speak. This policy is a good starting point. I've witnessed a slow clearing of trees on private property year after year, one property after another. Individually, they may seem insignificant, but together, it's quite frightening what's happening across our city and the wider metropolitan area. Of course, tree retention is important, but without buy-in from residents and investors, This policy will not succeed. Unfortunately, there is no incentives built in at this stage. I fought for them to be included from the start because I believe residents need reassurance, and I want to see planning changes that reward residents and developers who retain trees. I'm hoping that support may emerge naturally through the public consultation process, although I have been reassured by our planning officers that they will come later on. This is a pivotal moment for our city. We need a genuine partnership with residents and investors, not the council simply holding a stick to enforce compliance. That won't work. My hope is to see a community engaged and committed to protecting our trees, working together with the council and recognising that every tree is an asset worth protecting and that adds real value to their property. So I look forward to hearing the consultation when it comes back in. Back to the mover.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. Notwithstanding the policy we are considering tonight at a high level, it is imperative the state government introduces statutory protections for mature trees located on private property. These protections are critical to ensure sound planning outcomes, ecological sustainability, and community resilience in a changing climate. Without consistent legislative mandate from the state government, there is a risk that protections adopted through planning policies and schemes could be undermined or applied unevenly across different local governments. The existing legal precedent in Zorzi versus the town of Cambridge only caters for a small part of what is necessary for true and proper canopy protections. New South Wales, as an example, has long demonstrated how such protections can be implemented effectively at the state level since the 1980s. That's now over 40 years ago. When Western Australia needs to catch up, a state-led approach will reduce legal ambiguity, promote consistency, and demonstrate a commitment to sustainable urban planning and environmental leadership. Nevertheless, the city's draft policy is prudent and will provide an important purpose until the state government delivers.
Thank you for your summing up. I believe the computers are still down, so we'll need to vote by hand. All those in favour of the motion, please. Carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to 12.8, Councillor Kudjitsky. Councillor Kudjitsky, you have an alternative motion. Could that be on the screen, please? Seconder. Councillor Sessions. Just give me a chance to read it, although it has been sent out last night. Over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. So the components of the alternative motion are as follows. To make clear that consideration has been made by Council of all elector motions carried and those that failed at the annual electors meeting, to formalise Council's position in not supporting the state government's proposed motorsport street circuit at Burswood Park, as prompted by the electors motion 20. And finally, in formalising that position, Council would direct the Chief Executive Officer to write to the Premier of Western Australia and relevant ministers responsible, formally advising of the Council's position and calling on the state government to abandon the proposal. Furthermore, we would ask that the CEO write to the local member for Belmont, Ms Cassie Rowe, to inform her of Council's position. The reasons that I'm putting forward for this motion are as follows. So firstly, it's important to note Council takes governance seriously and endorses management's response to motions put forward concerning meeting procedures. Council has confidence in the Mayor and his application of the standing orders. The proposed Burswood Park racetrack is incompatible with responsible environmental management, community wellbeing and sound economic planning. the City of Belmont would join neighbouring councils in opposing this development and advocating for the preservation of Burswood Park as a vital public open space. And there are a number of impacts that require attention. The first being environmental impacts, and those include the proposal will negatively affect the natural environment, including the Swan River foreshore and wetlands, through loss of regional public open space, destruction of tree canopy, wildlife habitat, increased pollution and increased carbon emissions. Burswood Park has formerly been Perth's principal rubbish disposal site and has been previously remediated since 1986 to become public parkland. Establishing a racetrack and associated infrastructure would disturb this once contaminated site, which has pollutants such as asbestos and reverse decades of environmental rehabilitation which occurred on site. Burswood Park contains constructed lakes that provide important habitat for birds, turtles and aquatic species, and available information currently suggests that some of the lakes would be drained and infilled to construct the racetrack, permanently removing those functioning wetland habitats. And these lakes are known to support black swan breeding, nesting and rearing of cygnets within the parkland. There are community impacts, which include significant adverse impacts on surrounding communities, and those being pertaining to Belmont, and anticipated impacts include excessive noise, odour, severe traffic congestion on major roads such as Great Eastern Highway, which will feed onto local streets, and further loss of amenity and quiet enjoyment of nearby suburbs of Rivervale and Kewdale. The proximity of the proposed racetrack to residential areas means event noise would exceed acceptable levels for homes and schools. There's questionable economic justification. Available information raises serious questions regarding the project's viability. The business case includes broad disclaimers about the reliability of its projections, and there's no evidence that's been provided that existing motorsport venues in Perth, such as those at Wanneroo or Kwinana, could not be upgraded to meet motorsport needs. In the absence of transparent evidence-based justification, it wouldn't be prudent for council to find that these costs are warranted or represent value for the community. Estimated project costs could be redeployed and invested in community infrastructure instead that provides daily benefit to the community instead of a single benefit that is biased to a single industry. Finally, there's been lack of consultation, which has been meaningful, including that of the city or its residents and other affected communities, and the lack of engagement is inconsistent with good planning practice and community participation principles. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The second to wish to speak?
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. Although I believe that work on this Burswood motorplex has already begun, it's highly unlikely to be stopped. However, I do believe it's important that we reflect the views of our residents, and many have stated that they're opposed to this development.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against it or for it? Councillor
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to start by saying I don't agree with this track, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to interfere with someone else's council to try and stop it, especially when it's got to this stage where they're already building it. I just feel that if someone really wants to oppose this, then go down personally and go to Victoria Park and go to their council meeting or go to whatever open meeting they've got on and make it clear to everyone that you are with them and you don't want the motor track. Don't drag the City of Belmont into such a thing. I just can't see how it will help the people of Belmont in any way to be getting mixed up in what is really a political situation. All it can do is make people think bad of us, and I don't want that to happen. We've got a good name as a council, interfering in other councils in this type of development is up to the people who've got it going on in their council, not up to the City of Belmont to be put in to interfere. I have not heard a big council meeting where everyone's yelling and screaming, with people who really are upset about things. You get 300 and 400 people yelling and going on out the front here. I haven't heard that sort of thing. I don't think the people of Belmont really have got feel that much about it, or have got an absolute position taken. Certainly, I haven't heard it. Until such time as they give me a direction with a huge public meeting to say I must go and present myself to the people of Vic Park or the state government, or I think it's here we're writing to Cassie Rowe. I don't know what that's going to get us. I just think that we're interfering and we shouldn't be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to speak for or against? Councillor Ryan.
Yes, Mr Mayor, thanks very much. I just endorse what Councillor Marx has just said, only for the reason I don't agree with the racetrack either. I've spoken to Rita Scaviotti about it, and I told her to her face. She said, I'm the treasurer and I can do what I like, and that was it. It started, but I don't think we should be telling or going to Victoria Park Council in any way, except if we went there and attended the meeting and said yes or no, whether we agreed or not. But as far as the City of Belmont is concerned, to speak on behalf of all the residents, I think it's not right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody who wishes to speak for or against? Go ahead, Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I just want to congratulate Councillor Kuchitsky on a very well put together alternative motion. I have heard from quite a few residents who are opposed to this and would appreciate council advocating on the community's behalf, and I think this is an effective way to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sakula, do you wish to speak? No? Okay, then I will speak briefly on it. I'm afraid the horse is truly bolted. Fences are up and a late-stage objection will have little practical effect and may come across as reactive rather than well considered. We need to focus on what we can control, protecting our residents' wellbeing and local amenities in the City of Belmont. If noise and environmental concerns are at the forefront of community discussion, then the appropriate response is to reduce the impact on our residents in practical, measurable, real ways. We must invest in Rivervale and Kewdale to strengthen and future-proof our neighbourhoods. Expanding tree canopy across these suburbs is not optional, it's essential infrastructure for livability and community wellbeing. Priority attention should be given to major corridors such as Orrong Road and Great Eastern Highway, where increased canopy coverage will reduce heat and noise and act as a buffer. This means planting advanced, well-established shade trees to deliver immediate impact, not waiting for decades for benefits to materialise. At the same time, we should install additional cocky troughs to support bird life. These are practical actions that are within our authority and they deliver direct benefits to our Belmont community. We cannot undo what has already commenced, but we can ensure that our suburbs remain livable, green and resilient, and that's what I'm determined to do as Mayor. Thank you. We'll now move back to the mover.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. So Belmont is a historical subdivision and it predates the 1955 Stevenson-Hepburn plan and was laid out using earlier planning approaches. As a consequence, parts of our city, particularly Kewdale and Rivervale, do not meet contemporary expectations for public open space as defined under livable neighbourhoods. Belmont, Cloverdale and Redcliffe only meet the minimum provisions by a narrow margin. Council has worked hard to make the best of what we have. Our parks are high quality and well maintained, but they are small and heavily used. So residents if they do want to access larger passive recreational spaces, spaces to walk, exercise and experience different types of nature, they quite reasonably look beyond our boundaries to Burswood Park. And that park functions as a regional open space for our community. The proposed racetrack would materially reduce access to that space and diminish the amenity that Belmont residents currently rely upon. For a local government area already constrained in historical realities, that is not a minor impact. It is a significant planning and livability issue. There are also serious environmental considerations. This land was once Perth's principal rubbish disposal site. It took decades of remediation to transform it into the parkland we see today. Disturbing the land again risks undoing the work and re-exposing legacy contamination. The impact upon fauna cannot be underestimated either. Noise is another factor that cannot be dismissed. For our riverside suburbs, sound does not stop at the edge of the park. It travels, including over the river's surface. The acoustic impacts of motorsport activity would extend well beyond the immediate site and into residential areas, affecting homes, schools, and the quiet enjoyment of our neighbourhoods. This is ultimately a question of land use priorities. Do we protect scarce regional open space that provides daily benefit to thousands of residents, or do we convert it into a facility that serves a narrow, intermittent purpose? Although work appears to be progressing, it is not too late for the state government to reconsider. I believe we should advocate for the preservation of Burswood Park as a parkland for the benefit of all, and not just for today's residents, but also for future generations. And for those reasons, I commend this motion to Council. Finally, I do want to acknowledge the motions that were put forward by the electors, Mr Cardozo and Mr Phelan, so that we can consider these tonight. Thank you, Mayor Rossi.
Thank you. We'll do a vote by hand. All those in favour of the alternative motion before us, it's on the screen. Those against? Lost. 4 votes to 3. We need a move of the substantive motion.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Need a seconder. Councillor Sakula. Go to Councillor Marx. Do you wish to speak on it?
No, Mr Mayor.
Seconder wish to speak? Anybody else wishes to speak for or against? No. Back to the mover.
Nothing to say.
Okay.
Put the motion.
The motion's on the screen. Make sure everyone knows what they're voting for. All those in, we'll do a vote by hand again. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. To 12.10, request for rate exemption. Councillor Sessions is the mover. Need a seconder. Wojcicki. Head Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I do support the officer's recommendation on this item. However, and this does not relate to Intelife, I do believe that there is significant revenue leakage from rated properties with charitable exemptions, and intend to continue pursuing Walga and the state government for this to be reviewed.
The seconder wish to speak?
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. Yes, I'll be supporting the officer recommendation. However, it's been brought up time and time again that these rate exemptions are being subsidised by other ratepayers and is not sustainable. So we do need to continue with advocacy, which I understand is occurring through Walga, so that we can find a better solution to these rate exemptions. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Marx.
I'll be speaking for it, Mr Mayor. I must say that I think that these people are very brave to continue on with this, because I've been here 25 years and people have been saying that for 25 years and still the situation is exactly as it was 25 years ago. So only a brave person continues to attempt to change it. Thank you.
Else wish to speak for or against? No. Only I'll speak for it briefly, just to simply say I will support this, but obviously Walga's come on board, so hopefully they will, and the new president of Walga, who will know, I believe, next week, will take that on as one of their things to run with. But I also want to say to tread carefully, because it may impact people who really do need that rate exemption, who are doing great work in our community, helping our residents, and I don't want them to be also lose out on their rate exemption. So I'd say tread carefully, but I understand where you're heading with this and why you want this and why I also support it being with Walga and being progressed. Back to the mover.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. Nothing to add.
We'll go to a vote. All those in favour of the motion before you? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to 12.11, the last one of the ordinary motions. Councillor Marx, it's yours. I need a seconder. Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a motion I've put forward to make it clear to everyone that we should be very, very careful when we're dealing with legal actions against people in the public. I know there is a possibility that it can happen. The amount of money involved in this is astronomical and getting worse and worse and worse. I know the latest one, the Hall case, has come down in Mr. Hall's favour, but of course, as has happened with every other case, it's a pay your own fees case, which means Mr. Hall now has to be able to fork out the money for the whole case, or the people of the District of Canning, or if it was Belmont, the people of the District of Belmont have to pay for it. You're looking in somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million from what I can see. So this is really big money. I don't really think that we should be putting this on the line to our public unless it is absolutely a dire situation. What I brought to bear there is that you need to do a restraining order is probably the better, the quicker. It's cheap, it's quick, and you can get a result, especially today where we have these particular items are all broadcast and we have them taped, so we have evidence to take to court if someone is doing or saying something wrong. It's not like before where we didn't have that, now we have it, so we should get some really good results from restraining orders. And the big thing is there is no big price tag attached for the public, which is very important. Thank you.
Councillor Sessions, as the seconder.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I think as elected members, we are unfortunately sometimes subject to persistent and unjust criticisms and worse. So I believe a restraining order is an effective and necessary step before any further legal action is even considered.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Kulczycki.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I'll be speaking for the motion. It is a sensible proposal that's been put forward by Councillor Marx, and it sets the expectation of council upon elected members and staff. I would, however, ask for a minor amendment if the mover would consider it.
Please tell us what it is first. You need to tell us what it is.
So in the last sentence, which starts with order in capital, comma, after that comma, I would insert the words, yes, at that point.
Could you repeat that? We didn't get that. Say that again.
Yeah, so we've now found the right spot. So at that point, I would include the words, or any other suitable mechanism. And the reason why I would ask this is I'm a bit concerned that only including use of a restraining order may be perceived or could be interpreted as providing legal advice, which this policy is not. And there are other mechanisms that may be suitable other than a restraining order, and certainly before commencing defamation proceedings. So for those reasons, I would request that it be inserted.
You did see further up, it says, where's that word? It doesn't say you have to do this first. It says consider. But I'll go over to Councillor Marx. Are you happy with those words? Go ahead. Microphone on, Councillor Marks, thank you.
What are the suitable mechanisms that could be used?
Councillor Kujitsky, for example, would help.
Yeah, so cease and desist correspondence, other actions that don't proceed to formal defamation proceedings. Certainly, other steps need to be taken prior to defamation proceedings occurring, and as such, all options should be available in this policy to consider, so that defamation is a last resort. So certainly reinforcing the intent of this motion.
All right,
and also, I'd say maybe you're talking about mediation also. Could be one form. Councillor Mark, it's up to you whether you accept those words or not.
No, I'll accept that, yeah.
Okay, so you wish to continue to speak on this, Councillor Kujitsky?
No, I support the intent of this motion, and as I mentioned, Councillor Marx has put forward a sensible amendment.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to speak against, but not because of what alternatives have been put forward by Councillor Marx and now Councillor Kulczycki, because I support the majority of the changes made to our policies overall as presented in the tranche. I also support Councillor Marx's addition of the consideration of additional steps before any potential defamation action, which is a responsible addition which makes any publicly funded legal action less likely and less accessible. Short of removing that availability to elected members, that's a responsible change. I hope that we'll continue to never see the use of these funds by elected members for legal representation. But my concern is elsewhere and in a different policy within this item, the elected member communication policy, CP23. The current wording talks about what elected members can say in social media posts. And the wording currently before the proposed changes that we've got tonight says that elected members must not use personal accounts to make adverse comments about council or its programs, services, projects, other elected members, employees, volunteers, community members, or decisions. That's a reasonable policy, I believe. The proposed change to that adds a requirement that elected members must not invite, encourage, or procure others to comment or to act in such a way as to be adverse to the council, elected members, and other city members. My concern here is that this additional restriction might prevent or discourage...
Sorry, just to stop you there, could you refer to the actual page? It might help councillors to follow along, if that's okay. 577. Just give everyone a chance to get there.
Sure.
Found it. Sorry, please progress. Thank you, Councillor Harris.
Sure. So what I'm suggesting is to foreshadow a motion that retains the crossed out part of that section of the policy and retains that older version. Do we have the crossed out version? Don't think so.
Did you put this in beforehand, did you?
No. This one, I was not organised enough for that. Can I say the text of what would be in that?
It would have to be foreshadowed, and
Yes,
obviously
I'm happy to
would have to lose. Councillor Marx would have to.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So the text to be added would be, in addition to Councillor Marx's alternative motion, to add text under item I of the motion, of the text, to say the retention of the previous form of Part 9A XII, which is elected members must not use personal accounts to make adverse comments about council or its programs, services, projects, other elected members, employees, volunteers, community members, or decisions.
We'll have first the motion on the floor. Yes, continue on.
Yes, thank you. My concern here is that this might prevent or discourage elected members from publicly discussing council decision-making before those decisions are made. If an officer recommendation is given for an upcoming item that a councillor considers to not be in line with community interests, informing the community might then be considered procuring others to comment or act adverse to the city. I worry that this will interfere with elected members' duty under the Act, 2.10(1)(c), which is to facilitate communication with the community regarding council decisions. And I worry that this will potentially suppress councillor communication with the community and will have the effect of discouraging disagreement under fear of a potential breach of policy. As such, I'm putting forward this foreshadowed motion. But yes, I do agree overall with the changes to policies, and I think Councillor Marx's alternative is a good one. I am just particularly concerned about this one change to the communications policy, and without that, I can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? No, that I'll speak briefly. Public life comes with scrutiny, especially in this age of social media, and at times commentary can feel relentless. But the reality is that when I'm out door knocking or meeting people in the community, the response is overwhelmingly positive. People are generally happy with council and appreciative of what we do. Sometimes they want more, and that's fair, and expectations seem to grow every year. This policy is not about silencing criticism. Constructive feedback and respectful disagreement are an essential part of life and for personal growth. This is about fairness and well-being. It ensures councillors, regardless of income, can respond appropriately in serious situations involving behaviour that may reasonably be perceived as ongoing personal attacks. Yes, we're public figures, but we're also people. We have families and partners who see and feel the impact of what is said. No one's mental health should suffer because of a decision made in good faith while serving our Belmont community. And that's the key point here. When councils make decisions, we do after reading reports, listening to residents and weighing up what we believe as elected members is in the best interests of our community. Not everyone will agree with every decision, and that's part of democracy. Nothing in this policy limits lawful public debate or the right of residents to express disagreement with council decisions. However, constant criticism that becomes personal and targeted should never be considered something anyone, paid or unpaid, is expected to simply endure as part of the job. Mental health and well-being are just as real and important as physical health. They deserve the same care and protection. We want good people from all walks of life to put up their hand for local government. If the expectation is they must tolerate ongoing personal attacks without any support, many capable, decent people will simply not step forward. I also believe Councillor Marx's approach is measured and wise, with his suggestion to consider starting with a restraining order before pursuing further action. For those reasons, I support Councillor Marx's point to be added to point K. There being no other speakers, I'll go back to the mover.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to speak on the foreshadowed motion, and what I think is happening is that Councillor Harris has come up with a section he wants added that goes back to what was originally put forward. The officers have, in this particular motion that we've got here, have become more prescriptive and tried to narrow it down to what exactly is required. It depends on which way you want to look at this, if you wish to keep it more general and add your own to it, or do you want it to be prescriptive? The state government goes through all sorts of different ideas on which is the best way to do it. When I first got on council, it was all general, and you added your own thing. Now it's gone the other way, it's all prescriptive. So I don't know which is the best or which is the worst, but it's up to us to make a decision. And, if you feel that you want to be less prescriptive, well, then you'll vote the first motion down, wait for for shadowed motion to be put up and vote for that. So it's up to neither motion actually changes what Councillor Kosciuszki and myself have put forward. So it's just a matter of whether you want to be prescriptive or not prescriptive. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Right, we're now voting on what's on the screen right now in front of us. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. We now move to request for leave of absence. I believe there's none, Mr. CEO. Notice of motion, there are none. Matters which the meeting may be closed. I will now close the meeting in accordance with section 5.234C and G of the Local Government Act of 1995 for WA. I have a mover, Councillor Sessions, seconder Councillor Harris. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Would those in the public gallery please depart the chamber, and thanks for coming tonight. Thank you very much. So please pause the live stream. I now invite the public back into the meeting. I'll now go through each of the confidential items. 14.1, the lease, Belmont Senior Citizens Club. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Kujitsky. The vote was unanimous, 7-0. 14.2, tender, supply and application of turf and fertiliser, wetting agent and pesticides. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Moved by Councillor Sekula, seconded by Councillor Sessions. The vote was unanimous, 7-0. Tender, supply and delivery of trees. That council accepts the officer recommendation in relation to this item. Moved by Councillor Kujitsky, seconded by Councillor Sessions. The vote was unanimous, 7-0. 14.4, Code of Conduct matter. That council accepts the alternative motion in relation to this item. Moved by Councillor Marx, seconded by Councillor Ryan. The vote was 4-3, carried. There being no further business to conduct, I thank all the attendants and for your patience and close the meeting at 9:05 p.m. Just a reminder to councillors that all elected members to please return all confidential documents to the box in the foyer of the councillors' entrance here at the Civic Centre. Thank you very much.